Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
A steamy Monday in downtown Cincinnati, and we welcome you to Great American Ballpark. Crowd rolling in on this Labor Day Monday. Opening game of a three-game series. Nearby division rivals, the Pirates rolling, and the Reds continue this three-series homestand. Hi again, everybody, alongside the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley and Jim Day. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds baseball, and happy Labor Day. We hope you're enjoying a rare Monday off. Yesterday, a good day for the Reds after a very tough Saturday. And when the middle of your lineup gets it done, Cowboy, you'll take your chances.
I think when you look at Brian Price and the way he's had to flip-flop things, especially with the changes in the lineup, you get 11 guys on in your 3, 4, and 5 spots. That usually dictates runs. Not only did they score 5 runs, they hit 2 home runs as well. And boy, would they like to have that for Anthony DeSclafani today.
Well, speaking of Anthony DeSclafani, you look at this young man, Cowboy. We've seen so many rookie pitchers day in and day out, really going all the way back to the trade deadline when Johnny Cueto and Mike Leake were dealt away. This guy, though, has been there right from the beginning and is putting together a solid year.
He is, Tom. But I think that the comparison sometimes for a young starting pitcher, you tend to want to compare guys to Zach Greinke, Clayton Kershaw, Johnny Cueto. That's an unfair comparison. I think when you look at a young pitcher that's been able to come out, he's going to give you right around 30 starts this year. He's pitched awfully well as you see the numbers in the division. I think this is a guy that you can really count on and you're really happy about as you move into 2016.
Now, it's interesting. Jeff Locke, his counterpart today, is a guy that for whatever reason in this ballpark throws the ball very well. He has been struggling since the break.
He has, Tom, and I think the big issue for Jeff Locke is his changeup. If the changeup is on, he's on. If not, well, things can go the other way in a hurry.
All right, but I'll tell you one guy who's got it going, and I mean going like this, is Jim Day's main man. And when we come back, Jim's going to talk about that dude BP, Brandon Phillips. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By Chevy, check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time.
It's going to be a hot and humid afternoon at the ballpark today against the Pirates. We'll see temperatures starting off for the game around 87 for the first pitch, topping out near 91 for the afternoon, but it'll feel like 97 degrees. While a stray shower isn't ruled out, I think we stay dry this afternoon with some high clouds, but plenty of sunshine. Let's go Reds.
I'm Jim Day on the field. Brandon Phillips hits all over the lineup. We know that, and he performs how he needs to perform depending on where he's hitting. Now, since they moved him back to the cleanup spot, he has flat out been getting it done. August 24th is when they moved him back to hitting fourth. 13 games since then, 389 average, couple of long balls, and 11 runs driven in those 13 games. And there is not a hole in the middle of that lineup over those 13 games either. Just one strikeout for Brandon and 4 base on balls, which is also unusual because he is up there hacking early and often. Pirates are back in town. Remember August 2nd? That's when a benches clearing brawl happened between these two teams. We talked on that day, earmarked this day for perhaps carryover. What do we have in store? An encore? We'll find out together. The Reds would also like to continue the fireworks as far as the long ball goes. Tom and the Cowboy are next.
Side, but not too bad at the end of the day. And we're set for baseball, the first of 3 between the Reds and the Pirates. Pittsburgh on quite a roll, Cowboy, just 5.5 game behind the Cardinals. So Reds take the field, and they still feel like, having won 2 of 3 over the weekend in St. Louis, they have a fighting chance to win this division.
Well, it'll all be up to the Pirates as far as that fight goes. They didn't get in until early in the morning after playing Sunday night baseball last night, and you go from an atmosphere where you're playing a team that's right ahead of you in the division against the Cardinals, and then you come in here and you're playing the last place team in your division. The Reds are still playing hungry baseball. They've got to play like they did yesterday, and the Pirates, I tell you, Tom, you have a tendency to have a letdown after playing a first place team, and the Pirates can't afford to let that happen.
Let's take a look at Clint Hurdle's starting lineup. His team has won 81 times, losers just 54 times. Polanco leads off in right field. Neil Walker at second. Andrew McCutchen, the National League's Player of the Month in August, in center. Jung Ho Gung down at third. Alvarez at first. And Rodriguez to start at shortstop. Travis Snyder out in left field. Chris Stewart catching left-hander Jeff Locke. On the mound for the Reds, 7 up, 10 down, 3.8 ERA. His 27th start of this year. Rookie right-hander Anthony DeSclafani.
I think it'll be important, especially early in this ball game, for DeSclafani to establish down in the strike zone. You look at the first few batters in this lineup for the Pirates. Polanco, a couple of hits in last night's game. He was really the fire starter in that ball game. Neil Walker starting to swing the bat much better. And then you got the big fella, Andrew McCutchen. You've got to take care of those guys in the top of the lineup. Then if you're going to relax, it'll be down in the bottom of the order.
The Reds on defense presented by Ford. They'll have Duvall getting to start today out in left field. Bourgeois in center, Bruce in right, the regular infield. And Tucker Barnhart hanging the signs for DeSclafani. So Gregory Polanco digging in, 261 batter, 7 home runs and 41 runs batted in. The Reds wearing their red jerseys as they often do during the daylight hours. First pitch swinging, broken bat roller at Phillips. 1 pitch, 1 out. We're underway.
That's a good morning shot right there. Hello, right on your hands.
And as you mentioned, it probably feels like the morning hours to the Pirates, considering they got in and back to the hotel. Probably did not get their collective heads on the pillow until probably around 3:15, 3:30 in the morning. And then a 1:10 start here today. Neil Walker back in the lineup yesterday. They sat him down for a couple of days. Native of Pittsburgh, 265 batter, 13 home runs and 56 runs batted in. And a good player for the Pirates for a long time. It's 0-2. It's really incredible. By winning their 81st game last night behind their ace right-hander Garrett Cole, it assures the Pirates naturally of now a 3rd consecutive year of finishing 500 or better after going 20+ years. And look at Brandon to his right. A grounder, now a liner. 2 away in the inning.
Boy, he hit this ball square, but as you said, it was almost hooking back towards Brandon Phillips.
Well, you know, to finish that thought on the Pirates, they went 20+ years without a winning record. I mean, they were just a dismal franchise year after year after year. And of course, they're one of the most historic franchises in baseball, one of the original teams. And they had that electrifying 2013 year. They beat the Reds in the 1-game playoff, played in the 1-game playoff again last year. They were shut down by Madison Bumgarner and the Giants to start San Francisco's run and Bumgarner's run through the postseason, ultimately winning the World Series. And right now, unless they can make up 5.5 games in the final month of this season, they will play for a 3rd straight year in a 1-game playoff. And for a 3rd straight year, if the standings stay where they are right now, they would play at home. 2-1 on McCutchen. Count even up.
And Tom, they've done it. The Pirates have done it with a multitude of stars, but the consistent stars are Neil Walker, Andrew McCutchen, and the guy who used to play third, who is now playing first, and Pedro Alvarez. Other than that, you cannot say that these guys have been together a long time.
Slow roller down to third. Frazier bare hands throws, and it's into the camera well. They will award McCutchen second base. That'll probably be scored an infield hit and then a throwing error.
What did you see McCutchen flinch as that breaking ball started at him? Normally hitters don't even swing at that pitch, and he gets a jam shot hit on the left side of the infield and ends up at second. Whoa. I mean, he was bailing out.
So now Jung Ho Gung, the third baseman, hitting at .286, 13 home runs, 51 runs batted in. Here's a guy that has really made a big difference in his ball club this year, especially after the early part of this year when native Cincinnatian Josh Harrison was injured. Gunn got the chance. And my oh my, after coming over from Korea, he has made a huge impact on this Pirate team. 2-0.
You look at some of the players in this lineup. Starling Marte got a chance. Played awfully well. He'd probably be playing center field for most clubs. Polanco the same way. Gung, the chance was kind of deferred a little bit because Jordy Mercer was playing shortstop in the beginning of the year, and Harrison was at third.
Straight up into the air. Bourgeois to right center field will wave off Bruce, and that's all for the Pirates. They get an infield hit on air, a man left. Reds coming up against Jeff Locke when we return. Their starting lineup under manager Brian Price, presented by Meyer. Bourgeois in center, Frazier at third, Votto at first, Phillips, Bruce, Suarez in the middle. Duvall playing in his fourth game. Barnhart behind the plate for DeSclafani. And as we mentioned earlier, it's hard to understand why. Not sure there is a reason why. But Jeff Locke, in a hitter-friendly ballpark here in Cincinnati, throws the ball very well.
I think a lot of it has to do with the way that he pitches. He tries to cut the ball in on the right-handed batters, and his main pitch is the changeup. And when you're trying to lift the ball out of the ballpark, that changeup, a lot of times you catch it off the end of the bat or you miss it entirely.
Those are the numbers. Career earned run average at 1.8 for Locke in his ballpark. 27-year-old, grew up in New Hampshire, still makes his home there. And Bourgeois to lead it off, takes a fastball a strike. Locke looked like he was going to be a really good pitcher. After that 2013 year, he was a 10-game winner, had an ERA at 3.5. That ball in the air to short left field, and it's caught for out number one. But then in 2014, Cowboy up and down from the minor leagues, battled through some injuries. Numbers weren't terrible in 21 starts, 7-game winner, 3.9 ERA. But now this year, since the All-Star break, he has certainly had his problems.
Well, ultimately, in order to be a starting pitcher, you've got to be able to handle yourself with runners on base, because you are not going to have a perfect game every day. That's where this kid struggles. Everybody's good when nobody's on.
Right.
You've got to pitch when runners are on base. That's when you make your money at this level.
Locke got on a real nice run through June and July, and they thought they had found something. He had an ERA in the 2s during each of those months. But then the calendar turned to August, and he's basically been ever since, outside of one really good outing in Miami, he's been a 5-inning or less pitcher, and he's given up anywhere from 4 runs, 5 runs, 6 runs. But he's going to give up right by the shortstop Rodriguez. And that'll be an error, allowing Frazier to reach. It should have been the second out of the inning.
Rodriguez, not a normal shortstop. Now, he's played a multitude of positions for the Pirates. But that is a routine play, and he just flat missed it.
He's made 85 appearances over at first, 14 in left, 12 in right, 8 at third, now 8 at second base, 7 at second, and now 3 at shortstop. There's Joey Votto. He's continued his torrid hitting since the All-Star break. The numbers have just been mind-boggling, and just when you think he's going to start to slow down after a couple of off nights, you may remember in Chicago, then all of a sudden it's a dramatic home run in the 9th inning, giving the Reds a series win in the finale there. Hit some more over the weekend. In the second half of this season, a .401 batter with a on-base percentage of over .580, and has walked 64 times.
Going back to what you were talking about with Jeff Locke, if you've got a pitcher that only pitches 5 innings and he's getting to 100 pitches every time out, he's not pitching in the strike zone. You have to have confidence in the strike zone. If you're just going to pitch on the edge and expect these guys up here to swing at it off the plate, well, you're going to have a problem, and that's where he's at.
Well, we know Votto likes swinging the bat and is not apprehensive about swinging the bat 3-0. Good numbers for Votto against Locke. And here comes a 3-0 offering. And he swung at it and dribbles it foul. Now, it certainly is worth noting the last time these two teams got together. Bench is empty. We turned back the clock a couple of years ago when the Reds and the Pirates were knocking on the door of setting an all-time major league record for most hit batsmen between two teams in a season series. There's a bouncer at first. There's one. Return throw, inning over. We'll get back to that when we return. An error, nobody left, end of one, no score. about, you know, it started with Marlon Byrd a night before getting drilled or up and in. And of course, he had been hit in the face a couple of years back. It rolled over to the next day or two, Cowboy, and we thought all of this had pretty much been a thing of the past between these two teams, and then all of a sudden it rears its head once more. Do you think there's any carryover into this series, and one more still to go?
I don't know that there's a carryover into today, but if there is any pitch that knocks a batter down, whether it be on the Red side or the Pirate side early in this game, we could have that same kind of fiasco start up immediately.
Well, a couple of years ago, it was really ugly.
You can pretty much look at the Pirates right now. You hit one of their guys, they're going to get one of yours, and you can book it before the end of the game.
It is really an incredible job, and Clint Hurdle during his days in Colorado certainly had more than his fair share of detractors, despite the fact that he took that franchise to its only appearance in the World Series. That one hit right through the ship, and that is a base hit by Pedro Alvarez. But no one can deny the job this guy has done in Pittsburgh. It is one thing to have a good team maybe one year and you get in the one-game playoff like they did in 13, but he has changed the entire culture and the way the entire country and baseball world now views the Pittsburgh Pirates. They are viewed as a team that you better show up and play hard and play well, or you will get beat. And
I think that's the kind of player that Clint Hurdle was. I think when he had the job in Colorado.
This ball is hammered in the deep right center field. Back is Bourgeois and has room leaping against the wall. A long, loud out for Rodriguez. On a hot, steamy day like this one, that's the kind of ball you're used to seeing fly out of here.
And it almost did. All the way to the wall. Good timing by Bourgeois on the leap. See a lot of outfielders get to that wall and start to tiptoe a little bit, and that ball bounces right behind them. Nice play. But going back to what you were saying about Clint Hurdle, I think that early in his years in Colorado, I think there was so much concern about the ballpark, how to use the bullpen, the staff. There wasn't the same type of culture setting that he put in when he got to the Pirates. When he got this job, he went immediately, okay, this is how we're going to play, and I'll work on the bullpen when we get there. But then we're going to play hard every single day, regardless of who's on the field. Turn their whole scenario around.
And it's not like they have a bunch of young guys that they brought up to the major leagues. In fact, they have one of the oldest rosters in all of Major League Baseball. Now, based on average age, as far as years and days are concerned, the Blue Jays are baseball's oldest team. The Giants second. The Pirates are third. And I think many would be surprised that the Kansas City Royals are fourth, with the Cubs right behind them. Now, at the end of the day, that can get skewed by a couple of pitchers in your bullpen, a couple of backup guys on your bench, because when you watch the Cubs, as we just did, their entire starting infield is 25 and younger.
Right. And you look into the outfield with Marte and Polanco on the corners. Now, granted, McCutcheon's been around a while and is going to be around for a while. But you've still got a couple of young outfielders that all three of those guys, I think Flaps cover some ground out there.
2-2 delivery. Swing and a miss by Travis Snyder. And he's out of there on strikes. The first of the day for DeSclafani.
Runs this fastball up and away. And Travis Snyder likes to hit the ball the other way. And that one looked quite enticing. He just ran out of bat.
We've talked many times as Chris Stewart, the catcher, steps in for the first time, runner at first with 2 men out, that when DeSclafani has struggled, and it's not been often, his first full year in the major leagues here in 2015, his struggles have come in this ballpark. He has been the ultimate road warrior, if you will. But in less than a handful of starts here at Great American Ballpark, the earned run average has really ballooned. And there you see the split. Nearly double the earned run average on the home front as it is on the road. That's a spectacular 2.7 road ERA.
And normally it's flipped the other way for a young pitcher. Pitch well at home and not on the road.
No score. We're in the second inning. A runner at first and 2 outs. Number 8 hitter Stewart with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Breaking ball really didn't do a whole lot, but landed in the strike zone.
And it's not as though DeSclafani has given up an extraordinary amount of home runs. I think sometimes as a young pitcher, you're pitching at home in front of your home crowd, you have a tendency to put a little bit too much pressure on yourself instead of just relaxing and making your pitch from pitch to pitch.
Soft liner to short left, handled out there by Duvall, and that's all for the Pirates. A leadoff single by the board. No score after an inning and a half. Polanco, McCutchen, Snyder, right, center, left. Marte a day off. Gung, Rodriguez on the left side. Walker and Alvarez on the right. And a battery of Stewart. An off day for Francisco Cervelli. And the pitcher Jeff Locke. We are scoreless after an inning and a half. Phillips, Bruce, and Suarez are due up. Well, as Jim Day told you about in the pregame show, our IGS Bringing the Energy zeroes in on his main pal, Brandon. Since August the 24th, he has more hits, with the exception of Martin Prado, the same number among all players in Major League Baseball. Look at the 4th name on that list. One-time Red, New York Yankees shortstop D.D. Gregorius. Brandon has that batting average all the way up to just 4 points shy of an even 300. 11 home runs, 55 runs batted in for Phillips. And a bouncer to the glove side. Rodriguez bobbles again. Boy, stick a fork in it. 2 errors on him, the only 2 balls that are hit to him.
Trying to field that on the move. You don't really ever notice all of the great plays that a shortstop makes until he doesn't make them. That's supposed to be your best glove man on the field. But this is where the Pirates are after getting in late last night, trying to get some guys on the field that haven't played.
Let's see if the Reds can take advantage of now a second error through 4 batters in this game by the Pirates shortstop Rodriguez. And in fairness again to him, as Cowboy brought up earlier, this is only the 3rd game he's played there all year long. Jay Bruce hit .232, 20 home runs, 75 runs batted in. 2-0. You have to keep an eye on Brandon. Block well aware of that. 20 stolen bases, has only been thrown out twice. Held on over there by Alvarez. 2-1. Day game today, 9 games tomorrow and Wednesday against these Pirates, and then the homestand continues 4 games over the weekend with the Cardinals coming into town. Night game, then day game, Saturday, Sunday. 2-1 pitch. Pulled foul.
You know, the runner at first base, Pirates don't quite play the pull defense to the right side of the infield that they normally would with Jay at the plate. Of course, they do play Polanco with his back almost on the wall in right field.
Most of the action around Major League Baseball on this Labor Day will be under the sunshine. In fact, Mets already out to a 2-0 lead. That's a huge series for the Washington Nationals. It's starting to border on a do-or-die series for the Nationals. They're not there quite yet. But you drop 2 out of 3, or certainly if you're swept by the Mets, because they're completely finished in the wild card. In fact, everybody's finished in the wild card unless the Pirates and Cubs just completely fall apart. And I'm talking about winning 7, 8, 10 games from now till the end of the year falling apart. Because that gap between the Cubs and everybody else.
The Giants were the team that was there, and then they lost about 5 games in a row.
Yep, while the Cubs were winning every game.
Yes.
The Nationals are 7.5 out in the wild card. The Giants are 8 back in the wild card. In fact, the Giants are in trouble, period. They're 7.5 now behind the Dodgers in their division. But anyway, getting back to the Mets, they have a 4-game lead over second place Washington. So you're going to have to win the division in the East and the West to get into the playoffs. Is starting to look like. There's a bit of a hanger there, and Bruce fouled it out of play. And there you see, Cowboy. I mean, you start getting that thing to 5, 6, and beyond, you're in trouble.
And you wonder if the bit of controversy that we've heard about with the innings and whether Matt Harvey will pitch or whether he'll not pitch, you wonder what kind of effect that's going to have on the New York Met locker room. Or if it'll have any effect at all.
Well, they can look across the diamond and look no further than the way the Nationals handled Steven Strasburg and making the decision in the midst of, at the time, if I recall right, the Reds and the Nationals had what, 97 and 98 wins, and the Nationals decided that year on their way to the playoffs they were shutting Strasburg down. End of story. Now, it was their bullpen that let them down in the postseason, not the rotation. 10th pitch coming up in this at bat to Jay Bruce.
Yeah, but this type of situation has gone a little bit different. It's the club that wants Harvey to continue to pitch, but yet his agent and the doctors have set some type of 180 inning pitch limit. So you wonder how much he'll pitch in September, and you wonder how this is going to affect their overall rotation and their team for that matter.
This is quite a battle going on here. 10 pitches so far in this at bat, and number 11 coming up. 7 consecutive foul balls by Jay Bruce. Suarez waits.
Oh.
Foul ball again. 8 straight foul balls and a 12th pitch coming up.
That's a second ball in this at bat that Bruce has hit right down the line. I mean, that's within 6 inches to a foot of going over the corner of the bag.
Boy, normally Locke is very pitch efficient. Three and 2 now on Jay Bruce. 13th pitch of the at bat upcoming.
This is the kind of at bat early in a ball game that can wear out a starter both physically and mentally, especially with the heat the way it is today.
Brandon not running, and that ball hooked into right field. What an at bat by Bruce. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. 13 pitches capped off on a 3-2 pitch with a single to right.
One thing to have that many pitches and then give up an absolute rocket, and you look at pitch tracks, those pitches are all over the zone. The last pitch is a cutter, comes back over the plate. Jay hammers it.
And that is hit number 1,000 in Jay Bruce's career. The 6th player in Reds history with 1,000 or more hits, 200 or more home runs.
Had a pretty good at bat to get it.
Yes, indeed. If you're wondering who the others are, how about this list? Ted Kluszewski, Frank Robinson, Johnny Bench, Tony Perez, and George Foster. A strike. Joey Votto knocking on the door. 10 more home runs from reaching that mark. And Brandon Phillips, 21 away. No, it's interesting. That was a 13-pitch at bat by Bruce. Bourgeois had a 13-pitch plate appearance leading off the opening game on Saturday. That had been the first of that length by any Red since Scott Rowland in August of 2012. So here we've seen 2 of them in 3 days. Here's a base hit by Suarez. They're going to wave around Brandon. He will score. Suarez delivers again. What a year this guy's putting together now. 1-0 Reds. 42 runs batted in basically 3 months for Suarez. Not even 3 full months.
Not only has Suarez done it physically, but when you watch him step to the plate, you talk about some swagger and confidence. He believes he knows he's going to get a hit. When you get him out, he's got to be surprised.
He took over the everyday shortstop job after the injury, of course, to Zach Cozart, roughly the middle of June. And here we are, the first week in September, so it's not been 3 full months, more like 2.5. And he just continues to get hits and drive in runs. His batting average knocking on the door at 300. 11 home runs, 16 doubles, a triple, 42 knocked in. And we continue to talk about what is in store in 2015 for the shortstop position and what's in store in 2015 for Eugenio Suarez.
But there may be some question marks out there as to where he's going to play, but I don't think there's any question mark that he is going to play. I mean, there is not one person on the Reds organization or with any other organization that don't really like this guy that's standing at first base, Suarez.
Ground ball foul off the bat of Adam Duvall.
The part that amazes me, though, Tom, youngster, hitting awfully well when he put on a Reds uniform. I mean, he came out the gate swinging the bat awfully well, and he went into that slump there in August, went downhill a little bit, about 20, 30 at bats, and he just came right back with a vengeance. Whenever you're able to correct that in midseason, that tells me a little something about that individual on the positive side.
Here's a 2-1 delivery, and it's off the inside corner, and Locke having a hard time here in the second inning. It all started with that error by Rodriguez. A 13 pitch at bat by Bruce, who singled. The single by Suarez to knock in Phillips. Still nobody out.
Goes back to what you and I were talking about earlier. Locke does not like to pitch with runners on base. He pitches around the strike zone.
Duvall has 4 at bats as a Red. He has 2 hits, both of them home runs. He's knocked in 3. Of course, he had a home run his very first at bat as a Cincinnati Red. That was in Chicago's Wrigley Field to snap that 5-5 tie with a 2-run home run off Jason Grimm. And he draws a walk to load him up for Tucker Barnhart. Well, there's a long way to go in this game, and we're at the bottom part of the batting order, but you have a chance right now to make it very, very tough on these Pirates. Bases loaded, nobody out. Ray Searage, your pitching coach, will come out for a word with Locke. Cowboy, I want to get to something that, working more regularly with Chris, I've asked him about. I'm curious to hear your input on this. You know, getting back to the whole Suarez thing. We just saw a Cub team in Chicago where they're asking players to play a lot of different positions. I mean, one day you're in right, the next day you're in third, the next day you're in left, you're moved into second. We're seeing that with a lot of their players. And it really goes against the old traditional baseball thinking of, well, you know, let's keep them at one spot to keep them comfortable. If you're thinking about Suarez being an outfielder perhaps next year, should the Reds be considering it, playing him a few games out there over this final month of this season?
Conventional thinking would tell you yes, and I would say yes. But I don't know that the Reds are considering that at this point.
Barnhart, medium depth right field. The runner tags. Here comes the throw to the plate. It's not going to be in time. Bruce scores. And into the camera well goes a baseball. They're going to award Suarez the plate, which will send Duvall all the way over to third.
I'm not sure what Jeff Locke was looking at, but it was not the baseball coming to home plate. He was over here standing where the Reds logo is, behind the circle of home plate, and the throw was over by the third base dugout. That's your job as a pitcher, is to back up just in case the throw is offline, and that was way offline. I mean, it's almost as though Locke is locked up.
They gave the error to the catcher there. Now that ball bounced. We'll go back and take a look at this. The ball bounced right in front of home plate. And look at Cervelli.
Stewart,
I beg your pardon. Hard to tell whether that ball hit off his glove. It makes you wonder if it did, because of, like you pointed out, Locke was so far away from where the ball wound up, so maybe that's the reason why.
Well, you get back behind home plate, you're supposed to read the throw, but you could see the head of Jeff Locke as the throw came in. He dropped his head. He had no chance to even think about backing that up.
Infield in, DeSclafani the batter with a runner at third. 3 runs home here in the Reds' second inning. A pair of key errors in this inning by the Pirates. DeSclafani jammed with that pitch, fights it off foul. Apparently this ball hits Stewart in the left shin guard. And quite honestly, it didn't look like Stewart was in a big hurry to totally get in front of that ball with his body and block it either. One and two on DeSclafani. he has 3 runs batted in this year. He has 8 hits and 48 at bats. See if he can get in the runner Duvall from third. Doesn't chase it. 2-2. Two outs in the inning. It's the first strikeout for Locke. And now back to the top, and leadoff man Jason Bourgeois. He flied out to left field, his only time up. Slow roller down to third. Getting over. Nice play by the third baseman. The Reds come up with 3, thanks in part to a couple of errors, and they lead 3-0 at the end of 2.
This season, National League Central, maybe the toughest division in baseball. Just a 23-33 record against the Central, even up against the Cardinals. Losing record against the Brewers and the Reds and the Cubs. Against the rest of the league, they are 58-21. So they have been beating up the rest of MLB in the Central. It's a different story for this Pirates club. We'll see if it continues today.
It's really hard to figure in a Cowboy that a team can be this good. And I mean, you know, look, they come in, were it not for a recent slump, they had reached 30 games over 500, this Pirate bunch. And for whatever reason, inside their own division, now they've been 500 against the best team in the division, as you just saw, 8-8. But Milwaukee and the Reds a combined 10-18. And they're 5-7 against the Cubs. There's a tapper. Frazier will step in front of Suarez. 1 away. Is there any way to logically try and explain that, or are you just not getting up for the quote-unquote, I'm not going to say bad teams, because the Cubs are having a good year?
When you watch the Pirates playing against the Cardinals last night, you would think that Boy, this is not, well, I'll say this. Last night and today looked like two different teams. They had Garrett Cole on the mound, and they were playing gangbuster baseball. That's why they annihilated the Cardinals in that ball game. But if you think about it, on paper, this Pirates club has just about the same record as the Kansas City Royals, and everybody in the world thinks, boy, the Royals are blowing people away. But yet, they would not say that about the Pirates, simply because they trail the Cardinals by so many games.
Yeah, to give you an idea, if the Pirates were in the same division as the Royals, they would be 1/2 game behind. They both lost 54 games. The Royals have played one more, and they won that game. But man, when you play in a division where your division leader here on September the 7th has a whopping 87 wins, mercy. That's why I've never been a believer, ever, and it's not to suggest that you couldn't lay down statistics in front of somebody and say, well, this is what has happened on average over the last 20 years. I've never bought into that theory. You got to win X number of games to get into the playoffs. It just all depends on what's going on. I mean, if somebody would have told you at the beginning of the year, you know, say you win 87, 88. Well, let me tell you, you win 87, 88, 89 in the National League Central this year, you're still looking at 4th place in the division.
Well, I think statistics in general, you look at them, it gives you a reasonable expectation of what you can expect. And you expect a nasty slider right here from DeSclafani. It's a pretty good pitch. But let's face it, you're still talking about 25 to 30-year-old men. I mean, a lot of these guys are young, just coming to the big leagues, whatever team they play on. They have the same emotions, the same type of mental makeup that everybody else that comes to the ballpark has. You're just paying for a ticket to watch these guys.
Fastball at 93, in and down to Neil Walker, who lined out hard, and Brandon Phillips his first time up. Reds a 3-0 lead. Pardon me, Cowboy.
Of course, when you have a bad day on the field, you got a whole lot more folks knowing about it.
Well, this one he'll loop over Phillips' head into right field. A 2-out single by the Pirates second baseman Neil Walker keeps the inning alive for Andrew McCutchen. The Cubs and the Cardinals will tee him up here in about 15 minutes. That game will be in St. Louis to start a series there. And you can rest assured the Cubs are laying it on the line. That's a great rivalry for a long time, but the Cubs feel the same way about where they are in relation to the Pirates as the Pirates do about where they are in relation to the Cardinals. The Cubs very much is 3 games behind the Pirates in the wild card, as a soft liner back to the mound will end the inning. If the Cubs and the Pirates are in a 1-game playoff, the Cubbies would like that baby at Clark and Addison. 11th during Police and Fire Appreciation Night. We'll have a special pregame ceremony. Stick around afterwards for the big fireworks show presented by Course and Fire and Security. Tickets start as low as $12. Call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or log on to reds.com/tickets. Always so important to thank all of those in uniform, whether they be the military or whether they be our police force, fire departments, EMS units. And we'll do so here at the ballpark on September 11th. Todd Frazier to lead things off. First pitch swinging, fly ball into right. One pitch and one out. And boy, Locke could use that after a lengthy second inning. One at bat alone against Jay Bruce was 13 pitches deep. Joey Votto on a 3-1 pitch in the first inning, bounced into an ending double play on a bouncer at Alvarez. Strike one.
Locke starting to pick up the tempo a little bit. Work a little bit faster. Things start to get a little better for you. Maybe
not. That piece of hitting right there.
That's just incredible.
It's unbelievable.
0-2 off the plate. I mean, look where that pitch is. And look where Votto hit it on the bat. I mean, we're talking right off the end. And look how far he goes down to get that ball. I mean, that's like the guy charging into the net. You just lob it right over the top of his head. Hang with him.
Reached base safely now in 26 consecutive games. It's been amazing to watch. And he just keeps right on rolling. Brandon reached on an error. That was the ground ball to the glove side of Rodriguez, the shortstop, leading off the second inning. It would turn into an inning where the Pirates committed 2 errors and the Reds scored 3 runs. Phillips scoring the first of those 3. But a very short lead over there, 1 on 1 out. Fastball on the inside corner, a little above the belt. Good pitch.
On base 5 of his last 7 plate appearances for Votto, and now a 9-game hitting streak. Just when you think he's going to slow down a little bit, he just turns it right back into high gear.
Good breaking ball down and in, and that's strikeout number 2 today for Locke. 2 around the inning. Well, if they read it's a home run off that Toyota sign today, Luke Clock, or Clocky. Lou, forgive me if I mess that up, from right here in Cincinnati, will win that Tundra. And you still have a chance to win it. Just stop by your Cincinnati and or Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. You know, the Jay Bruce 13 pitch at bat that was capped off with a base hit is the longest at bat by any player in the big leagues this year, ending in a hit. Since John Jay, they're the 2 longest at 13 pitches capped off by a hit in all the baseball this year. Jay, of course, of the St. Louis Cardinals. And who knows, maybe he did it against Jeff Locke too.
Pretty good way to get your 1,000th hit.
Yes. That's earning it.
You got that right.
Locke much sharper here in this inning with all of his stuff. Getting ahead of all the hitters. The breaking ball's been very good in this inning, both to lefties and righties. Popped up softly into right center. That'll be handled by Polanco, and the Reds are gone in the third. A hit, one left. Reds 3, Pirates nothing. At Fox Sports Ohio's pregame warm-up. That'll be at the Jefferson Social over on the Banks in downtown Cincinnati. You can win great prizes, be a part of the action around the ballpark prior to the first pitch. It all gets started this Thursday, 5 p.m. at the Jefferson Social. I wonder if Jesse Jackson will be directing the Jefferson Social before the game. If he's not, he should be. 4, 5, and 6 against Anthony DeSclafani here in the Pirates' 4th inning. Gung to lead things off. He flied out to center field his first time up. Reds scored 3 times in the 2nd inning. The only 3 runs of the game so far. 2-0. Pirates have a hit in each of the first 3 innings. An infield hit by McCutchen in the first. Single to right by Alvarez in the second. A 2-out single to right by Walker in the third. Breaking ball in there on a 2-0 pitch. Strike 1.
It's amazing how that 2-0 breaking ball, it didn't do a whole lot. But what it did do is it got DeSclafani right back into the count, because Gung was looking to hit one into the second deck.
Lines this ball hard, but right at the left fielder Duvall, 1 out. Right now, we invite you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag #OhioDataStrongFan. We might put it on a game sometime soon. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. We'll have one coming up a little bit later on today. Well, the Reds once more will put on the big shift for the left-handed batting Alvarez. He hit one right in between Suarez and Brandon Phillips for a clean single, his only time up today. Well, the days of Pedro Alvarez's career as a Pirate could be winding down. He is a free agent at the end of the year. And really, he's become, I'm not going to say a part-time player, because when you're a left-handed batter, you play more than part-time, but they are reluctant. And if they were playing in a playoff game tomorrow against, say, Clayton Kershaw, he would not start.
No, and that's unfortunate, because he was a first-round pick for this Pirates ball club, playing at third base. Looked like he was going to be just fine. Well, things went south in a hurry.
Has tremendous power. There's no debate about that. And he'll hit a lot of home runs. He has 22 of them this year, 68 runs batted in. Batting average better than it's been in recent years, even in the 240s. But he does a lot of that. 2 away in the inning.
You can see Barnhart touching the glove down to the ground, and that's the same curveball that we saw DeSclafani strike out Polanco with. There's another one of those get me over breaking balls. Not too many hitters come to the plate that want to hit that. They don't want to hit it 2-0. They don't want to hit it on the first pitch.
Comes back with another.
When you start to be able to do that as a pitcher with consistency, you're learning rather quickly how to pitch rather than just throw.
There's some jawing going on in that dugout. I don't know exactly who that was directed at by the home plate umpire. But that's good morning, good afternoon, and good night for Rodriguez. And you saw the home plate umpire, John Trumpain, point into that dugout and say, "I've heard enough." First perfect inning for DeSclafani. He has a 3-0 lead.
Team. I'm Jim Day. We talked about High A Daytona going to the playoffs and how it's nice to have a winning feeling at the minor league level when these players move up. Well, congratulations to the Double-A team, the Pensacola Blue Wahos. Last night clinched their second half title, in which they will go on to the playoffs and they will face Biloxi. And we talked to manager Brian Price about the team today. And Pat Kelly is the manager down there, and he's one of the most well-liked guys in the organization. He said he is so happy for Pat Kelly, and the players have learned a tremendous amount under him and progressed very, very well. So Pat Kelly in Pensacola going to the playoffs.
Yeah, Pat has been in that Florida area as a resident. His kids grew up there. He's been down in Florida for a long, long time. Good man, and congratulations to him and his team.
No doubt about it.
Eugenio Suarez knocked in the first run of the game with a single into center field. Later scored in a 3-run Reds' second inning. And that's our score. 3-0 Cincinnati here in the last of the fourth.
Yeah, you make so much about developing players in the minor leagues. Well, you sure like to win as well.
Sure. Well, Jim Day will be staying on top of all of the minor league teams that are on their way to the postseason in some form or fashion. He'll be updating you pretty much day in and day out the rest of the way. Jim, you know, by the way, I wanted to ask you, have you had a chance this year, and I know you've been busy working at virtually every Reds game. I mean, there are very few. The only time you were really pulled off any games were right before the All-Star break when you were not in D.C. or not in Miami, I beg your pardon. You came back here to get ready for all the programming here on Fox Sports Ohio. Have you been to either Daytona or Pensacola? I hear the ballpark in Pensacola is just extraordinary.
I have not been down there. I've seen many pictures and have talked to many fans that have, and it's right on the water there. And everyone that's gone there, it just it leads the Twitter world and fans tweeting pictures of it about how nice it is to watch a ball game there. I have not been there just because of the schedule, but I would love to take in a game.
And you know, I mean, I should have started with the man I'm sitting next to here because he's waving at me as Suarez has gone on strikes. Cowboy, how did you end up going there?
Well, the Reds were supposed to play an exhibition game right out of spring training.
That's right.
And we were broadcasting that game on the radio, but because of the weather, it didn't happen. But that ballpark is a pretty good place to pitch in. Not a great place to hit in. Pretty good place to pitch in. That wind blows in off that water. If you can't challenge hitters in that ballpark, you're in trouble.
That's your neck of the woods down in the Gulf.
That's close.
I mean, I know it's not a hop, skip, and a jump, but I mean, you know, it's on the Gulf side.
It's about 3.5 hours.
Yeah, it's an easy ride. That'd be 5.5 for most of us. It's 3.5 for you.
Stop it.
Fastball taken high. Adam Duvall walked his only plate appearance that came in the 3-run second.
I want to see him hit another home run. That way his first 3 hits can leave the yard. 2 for 4 with 2 jacks already.
Strike 3 called on the inside corner. That's 4 strikeouts now for Jeff Locke. The first called at 3rd strike.
That one may have been a little in off the plate, but with 2 strikes, obviously a little too close to take.
He thought that pitch was low and in. Locke without a perfect inning. He has gone an inning where he faced the minimum. And this should be 1, 2, 3. And it is. We march on to the 5th at Great American Ballpark, where the Reds lead Locke and the Pirates 3-0. To you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. By Meyer, find more for a healthier you at Meyer. And by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the country on the U.S. News and World Report's best children's hospitals in America. And as we always do, we wish those of you watching over at Cincinnati Children's a great day today and pray for an even healthier one tomorrow. Beautiful shot. Boy, that was a very different look to that skyline and along the banks of the Ohio River on both the Ohio and Kentucky sides last night. The biggest single event in the entire region. The Western and Southern Cincinnati Bell WEBN fireworks. 500,000 people in and around downtown Cincinnati in a big night. Still trying to clean everything up.
That's a lot of folks.
One of the biggest in the nation. Seven, 8, 9 in the batting order for the Pirates here in the 5th against DeSclafani. Travis Snyder quickly behind, 0-2. Snyder struck out his first time up. Will be followed by Stewart and then Locke. The Reds here in the 5th with a 3-0 lead in the first of 3. And the Cardinals come to town for 4 to wrap up this homestand. The Reds won their first series since the end of July when they beat the Cubs. There's a broken bat roller and it'll dribble foul. When they beat the Cubs 2 out of 3 before coming back. But then Cowboy, it was a disappointing weekend. Again, the Brewers come in and kick the Reds around aplenty.
Not an easy task to win a doubleheader, but the Brewers somehow were able to do that.
Here's a 1-2 on Snyder, and a breaking ball down and away, smothered by Barnhart. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dexter Fowler, a home run to lead off the first inning for the Cubs in St. Louis. Well, now DeSclafani missing.
3 straight deliveries there by DeSclafani. Really off towards the first base side. He tried to get the 0-2 pitch in on the hands of Snyder, and the ball ran up and away. Tried to come back with a breaking ball, fell to the first base side as he did on that last fastball.
Foul ball.
Votto was taking nothing for granted there on fair or foul. He got it and fed it to DeSclafani in a hurry.
Eighth pitch in this at bat, and there'll be a 9th. Remember, it was very hot and humid when the Reds played in Chicago last week. They gave DeSclafani that 3-1 lead, and then his body started cramping up on him in the 6th inning that night, and that's when the game got away from him. And it's every bit as warm here today, and you're playing under the sunshine as there's a pop-up into left field for the first out of the inning. DeSclafani had the consecutive starts against Zach Greinke where he allowed 2 runs in one start, got beat, allowed 1 run in the other start, got beat, and then was at least given a little bit of room to work with. But he wound up being relieved in that game in the 6th inning when the Cubs came back to tie it up. 2-2 on Stewart.
How many rookies this year will make 30 starts? There. Got to count those on your hand. One.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. One hand. Base hit left field on an 0-2 pitch by Stewart. That was an 0-2 fastball. Celebrate this All-Star summer by being part of All-Star T-Shirt Tuesdays presented by Rice Krispies Treats. So now every Tuesday home game left, there are many, you can buy a package for $25. You get a Reds ticket and an exclusive All-Star themed T-shirt. And that package starts right now. Just stop by Reds.com/Tuesday. There's a bunt by the pitcher Locke. And that's a second out here of the inning. A successful sacrifice by Locke. Campbell, you were asking how many rookies are going to start 30 games this year. DeSclafani today's number 27. So 3 more to go. You have Chris Heston of the Giants. He has 26. And Nathan Carnes of Tampa Bay has 26. So you only need 3 fingers on one hand.
You got it. Just doesn't happen very often.
Runner at second. Reds in front 3-0. And here's the leadoff man Polanco, who's bounced to second, shattering his bat leading off the game, the very first pitch of the game. And then DeSclafani struck him out swinging in the third. One ball, one strike. Very laid-back crowd here today. This is a nice 3-day weekend for a lot of folks out there. Not everybody, but the kids are out of school. Probably just soaking in what some consider to be the final, weekend of summer. Although there's plenty of beautiful weather, summer-like weather left in store. Saturday was the first time we have had rain in these parts for quite some time after a very rainy April, May, and June. The 1-1 pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That's where he wanted that fastball to Snyder earlier, right in just above the hands. Very tempting for a batter. Tough to lay off, but almost impossible to do anything with. See if he goes back to that curveball as he did the last time.
One ball and 2 strikes on Polanco. Runner at second base. Got him swinging, and there it is. To end the inning. 5 strikeouts for Anthony. He has a 3-0 lead. Fox Sports 1 with highlights, instant analysis, and live look-ins from around the league. Weeknights at 7 on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. $3-0 ball game. The Reds in front of the Pirates as we celebrate Labor Day across this great country of ours. DeSclafani to lead things off will be followed by Jason Bourgeois and then Todd Frazier. Reds scored all 3 of their runs in the second inning. Rob Butcher, the Reds director of media relations, just announcing the Reds tomorrow will purchase the contracts. Make sure we get this straight here, of Tony Cingrani. There's a base hit into center field by DeSclafani, his 9th hit of this year. Brandon Finnegan, pitcher, one of 3 acquired from the Kansas City Royals in the Johnny Cueto deal.
Josh Smith,
right-handed pitcher, and Christopher Negron, who started this year with the Reds Major League Club. So they'll have 4 more bodies packed in that clubhouse starting tomorrow. Finnegan, one would imagine the game plan all along with him was the Reds want to continue to work him as a starter. Kansas City making the decision after he came up and pitched with them last year. There's one, and that's all they're going to get, as Bourgeois trying to bunt the runner over. But you know, they made the comment, Cowboy, they being the Reds, that they need this guy to pitch a full season, so there would be really very little worry about him reaching a certain innings number looking ahead to 2016.
Well, I think the big key for Brandon Finnegan, from the folks that I've talked to that have seen him pitch since coming over to the Reds, is command of the strike zone. I don't think there's any doubt that he has the arm strength and the breaking ball capabilities to pitch up here. We saw that with the Royals out of the bullpen. But as a starting pitcher, everything just can't be max effort on every single pitch. You've got to have some semblance of pitchability and the ability to change speeds within the strike zone. And if he's not able to do that, then he's not going to give you the 6 or 7 innings that you desire from your starter. He's going to give you 3 or 4, as we've seen with some of our young guys so far.
Well, with that announcement, we check in. I know, Jim Day, you have something further to add to this after the 0-1 to Frazier, ball and a strike. James?
Well, Finnegan's day to pitch is on Wednesday, and the Reds had listed in their game notes as TBA as far as the starting pitcher on Wednesday. This morning, Brian Price said that it would be Kiva Sampson once again. Sampson went 3 innings last time out, so he thinks he's raring to go, but that's never written in stone. That could change, but he said this morning it will be Sampson Wednesday.
Well, let me back up here a second. Does that mean Sampson, Jim, was such a short outing that they're okay with him coming back on just 3 days rest?
Yeah, he talked about the 3 innings pitched, about how there's no wear and tear on his arm. But again, Brian doesn't like to let you know strategy-wise what's going on. It's not written in stone. But he did say that it would be Kivas on Wednesday.
It's also Finnegan's regular day.
Jim mentioning that, so we'll see. We'll see. Gone swinging is Frazier. The Pirates are also keeping their starter for Wednesday somewhat. I'm not going to call it a secret. They're not suggesting the Reds are keeping it a secret either. Right now they have scheduled to pitch Jay Happ, the left-hander, but there is a sneaking suspicion around those that follow the Pirates regularly that A.J. Burnett will come back to start that game.
Well, evidently, Burnett has pronounced himself quite healthy and ready to go. And Happ's thrown the ball pretty well for him.
This will be the final season in the major leagues for A.J. Burnett. He's already announced his retirement at the year's end, injured And rather than going through surgery, he says there's no chance that's going to happen. I'll do whatever I have to do to come back and try and pitch. If I'm able to, great. If I'm not, then that's the way it goes. Foul out a play by Votto. 1 for 2 in the game. One ball, one strike on Votto. Runner at first is Bourgeois with 2 outs. And that misses off the inside corner and below. Nationals and the Mets in a wild one. 5-4 only in the top of the 15. Washington has come back to take the lead.
Big series for both of those ball clubs.
Oh, yeah. 2-1 pitch. And it's low, 3 balls and a strike. You know, oftentimes we look at those series, rightfully so. The team who's behind, there's a lot more on the line for them because they're having to play catch up, and there's a number of games left in this series, and you know, you're down to the final less than a month now. But for the team that is in front, the benefit of winning 2 of 3 or sweeping a 3-game series on so many different levels, not just knowing you have a 4-game lead goes to 6 or 7 in the case of a 3-game sweep, but what that means to how you can set up your rotation. You continue to play well for the playoffs.
Look at what the Dodgers did to the Giants.
Right.
I mean, they basically put the Giants in a position where they almost have to win every day, and that's just not going to happen.
Give some of your regulars, you know, rest a lot more than you would if you were trying to grind it out to the very end of the season. Three and 2 on Votto, and a foul ball back out of play.
And there's such a fine line with those ball clubs that have a pretty reasonable chance of being in the postseason, especially when they have a big lead. Cardinals, for instance. You don't want to take away the competitive edge and the way that you approach the ball game every day, but you're trying to rest guys and keep that edge all at the same time. That's a tough combo.
Bourgeois gets started on another 3-2 offering. Lock to Votto. Struck him out, inning over. 1 hit, 1 left. We played 5, and the Reds lead the Pirates 3-0.
Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service. College students enjoy a back-to-school offer with a 35% discount. Authentication is required. Blackouts and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv today. Tonight is a big night for Cincinnati and the Reds. No, I'm not talking about your Ohio State Buckeyes, Tom Brenneman, playing tonight. I'm talking about fantasy football. Brian Pena and Todd Frazier leading the way here. They will have their annual draft tonight at 6 o'clock. That is just for teammates only. The buy-in, a little steep for my liking. But Brian Pena, further proof how fan-friendly this guy is. About a week ago, he got on Twitter late at night and just decided to have a draft with fans, saying basically the first 11 people that tweet me, you can get into the league. He went online and set up the whole league himself. So it's him just against fans, and he said he just wanted to bond with the fans. Top prize will be a Votto signed jersey. He got Chapman to sign a glove, Frazier to sign a bat, Hamilton to sign a baseball, and he said the last place team will get a signed baseball by himself. And he did say if he wins the league, he says he's going to keep the signed Votto jersey himself, because he said anything Votto signed is rare, which is a pretty good line.
All right. Well, Jim Day, thank you as always. How you hanging down there today, by the way, Jim? It's sunshine. You doing all right?
Doing all right.
Because it was a warm day yesterday, too.
And the day before.
And the day before.
Yes, I'm in this concrete pit, which is always extra cool.
I know. That's why I'm asking to make sure. I mean, you have enough water and everything down there? Can we send any down to you?
No, Dickie Moss took care of me. Brought me some water. He's my man. So I'm good right now.
All right, just want to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Little hot, but big old hang with him. Part of the game.
See, Cowboy, you guys over on the radio side are really cruel, I understand, in Jim Day. On the TV side, we're always trying to make sure the old boy's doing all right. There's a liner into right, 2 away in the inning.
You said y'all?
Yeah,
that
you
would
and my dad, I understand, were lighting him up the other day.
That would be more than one person. I am never cruel.
All right.
I think he should have a hat.
Well, you had made that suggestion to him before the game. We ought to get him one of those big, those hats that like fishermen wear. You know, they have the big wide
fluffy hat.
Yeah, so you can keep the sun off not only your face but also your neck. That one bounces up there to Gunn. Quickly 2 away for DeSclafani, leading 3-0 here in the 6th inning.
He needs one of those little Bayou fans, you know, on the back of that airboat.
Oh, yeah.
Put it right behind him. I got a couple buddies might let him borrow. That's the kind of hat he needs.
That's what he needs right there.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right there.
Put a little Fox Sports Ohio on the top of that bad boy. He'd be licking good.
That is a big league hat.
Solid. Pull that chin strap up.
Lined hard, and that one hops the wall. Bruce will play it barehanded off the wall. How about that? Played perfectly by Jay Bruce out there up against the wall and right.
You know, when you watch Gung swing the bat, now we've seen him pull the ball with some authority, but the balls that he's really hurt the Reds on have been that ball. Look where his eyes are as he makes contact. Right down on the ball as the ball meets bat. You always talk about hitters doing that. Gung does it. Almost like when you see Votto. Bat meets ball and his eyes seem to be looking right at the contact point.
Well, here's Alvarez. Reds leading 3-0. A 2-out single by Gung. Alvarez is single to right and struck out swinging. Anthony has not walked a batter all day. Struck out 5. He's allowed 5 base hits. In fact, the Pirates have out hit the Reds in this game 5-4. Slow breaking ball and way out in front is Alvarez, and now 0-2. Coming up later, we'll have our Miller Time moment brought to you by Miller Lite. Get a look at the Reds defense with Votto holding the runner on. Phillips in short right. Alvarez also staring at Suarez standing on the first base side of the second base bag. The 0-2.
It's one of the adjustments we've seen DeSclafani make from early in the season to right now. I can remember when he was facing, I think it was the Indians ball club, he had a really tough time getting that fastball inside without it running back over the plate. Now he's driving it in there with some authority. And that sets up the curveball and the changeup at any point on the plate.
Struck him out on that breaking ball. Boy, does he look sharp today. Sunday. Take advantage of exclusive ticket offers and enjoy face painting, live mascot races, games, and so much more. Plus, kids 14 and younger this Sunday will receive a Homer Bailey poster thanks to PNC Bank. Call 513-381-REDS or visit select Kroger locations. DeSclafani, 6 innings of 5-hit shutout baseball, has struck out 6, walked none. And his team leads 3-0. Phillips, Bruce, Suarez 2 up against Locke, who had very bad defense behind him in a 3-run Red second inning. Only one of those runs an earned run.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking at this point in time that the Reds may need to try out the shortstop a little more. They've hit 2 balls to him today. He's booted both of them. Maybe you need to get out there and hook that outside pitch, get that ground ball to Rodriguez and test him out a little more.
Well, that's exactly what Brandon did leading off the second inning. Rodriguez kicked it, and it opened the door for the 3 runs in the inning. But boy, Locke has been a very different pitcher from that second inning on.
He has really started to pick up the tempo. He did it immediately in the 3rd, and he's doing it even more so now. You know, it's almost psychological sometimes, Tom, when you work fast as a pitcher and you've got a good changeup, hitters seem to start to jump at you a little bit, especially when you're around the plate. But when you start taking your time and you're walking around the mound, you get lit.
And as you pointed out earlier, when you're not throwing strikes. And Locke was really pitching around the strike zone, not even going to call it the edge of the strike zone. Now again, he had bad defense behind him, in fairness to him. This should be a 1-0 game. 3-0 delivery. And a bouncer to Alvarez. He hung in there and then throws it away. He had more than enough time to set his feet. And that turns into the 4th Pirate error of this game. Mercy.
You could just see it coming because Alvarez got in between on the baseball, and Phillips saw it. He was hustling all the way down the line. Alvarez turns to throw, and maybe he thought Brian Price was playing first.
So now Jay Bruce, if you weren't with us, Jay had a 13-pitch at bat capped off by a single to right. He would later score in the 3-run second. And then he flied out to short right in the 3rd. Steve Reich one from Locke. Reds batting here in the last of the 6th inning with a 3-0 lead. Comes back with a breaking ball to get ahead 0-2.
Starting that breaking ball right at the hands of both Votto and Bruce and trying to break it back over the plate. Freeze him a little bit when you start it at the hands. Two-strike changeup. He threw that pitch to Votto and had Joey out in front in his last at bat. He tries to do the same thing to Bruce here. A changeup on the inside part of the plate, and that one just tailed just a bit off the inside corner.
We were talking about that very topic on the last road trip, and it's just so hard to understand why left-handers don't throw with more frequency change-ups to left-handed batters. Right-handed pitchers throw change-ups to right-handed batters. One of the most successful left-handers in baseball history, 2 of them threw change-ups regularly to left-handed batters. Most recently, that would be Tom Glavine of the New York Mets. Then you throw in the fact that because so few do it, left-handers rarely ever see left-handed change-ups from left-handed pitchers, which would certainly, one would think, be an advantage to the pitcher. There's ball 4. He tried to throw another one.
I think a lot of times for most pitchers, even right-handers, throwing a changeup to a right-handed pitcher or right-handed batter, you're afraid of the ball running back over the plate. But in today's game, you've got so many batters leaning out over the plate. Even if they do recognize it, they're going to make contact and pull the ball foul because of the lack of speed.
Well, the day is over for Locke. He's just walked his 2nd batter after getting ahead of Bruce 0-2.
Jared Hughes.
And they will go to their bullpen and bring on the right-hander Jared Hughes. Our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Batting here in the last of the 6th inning. Jared Hughes, big, tall, hard-throwing right-hander, takes over for Jeff Locke. Bullpen has been a major strength for the Pirates for a long, long time. And now where in the world is Phillips going with nobody out? Pirates not handling this run down well at all. They get the out. Advancing on to second is Jay Bruce. That is just not a good decision by Brandon Phillips.
Well, I think Brandon Phillips was just anticipating that Hughes would not look at him at all. He had not even looked back to second base. Hughes, I'm talking about, the entire time as he did his warm-ups, everything. And he caught Brandon by surprise. The only benefit is Jay Bruce is able to get to second base during the rundown.
So Hughes will take that easy out. And here is Eugenio Suarez. First pitch to him, a fastball. Strike one.
When you look at the numbers for Hughes, this is his 66th ball game, a 2.61 ERA. He has been a ground ball machine.
Well, I mean to tell you, in all of 2 pitches, Hughes comes in with first and second and nobody out. Now there's a runner at second and 2 men out. Wednesday on Reds Weekly, where are Joey Votto's teammates? What are they saying about his second half? Brandon Phillips takes Jim Day through some of his most spectacular defensive plays. You don't want to miss that. And Brian Giesenslaw catches up with Reds top prospect Robert Stevenson. Jeff Pecoro, Doug Flynn, and all new Reds Weekly this Wednesday at 6, right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Looking forward to that. Here's Duvall. Burke Badenhop getting loose in the Reds bullpen. DeSclafani has only thrown, his next pitch will be his 77th pitch. And we're through 6 innings of this game. Pulled down to third. Boy, that just disappeared in a heartbeat. 2 on and nobody out. Pick off, pop up, ground out. In a span of 4 pitches, still 3-0 game. Reds 3, Pirates nothing. The The Bucks come to bat here in the 7th inning, and of course on the mound, and why shouldn't he be, is Anthony DeSclafani, working on a 5-hit shutout. He has not walked a batter the entire day, and he has struck out 6. And the 6 strikeouts have come in the last 5 innings. He did not strike out a batter in the first. So it's 6, 7, 8 in the batting order. And that'll help. 1 pitch, 1 hopper at third.
I think that's another learning point for a guy like DeSclafani. He relies on that hard sinking fastball early in the game. As you start to get fatigued later in the game, that means the ball is going to sink even more. So you pitch accordingly. That ball really had some sink to it. Easy out at third.
So now Snyder, he struck out and popped up to left field. 0 for 2 today. And a fastball off the outside corner. This is one of those games, if you don't fool around with at bats like this, where you start falling behind 2-0 or 3-1 or walk a guy. We have seen Brian Price as his season has gone on, not necessarily into the 8th and 9th innings, but guys getting through the 6th or guys getting through the 7th. He has tried to stretch out to build those pitchers into understanding that when you get beyond 100 pitches or you get beyond 7 innings, you can drive yourself to get through that next inning. I mean, DeSclafani, his pitch count right now is at a point where if he could quickly get through these next 2 hitters, and that should be the 2nd out of the inning, they had him played perfectly. He's got a shot for a complete game today. Do I think he'll send him out there for the 9th in a 3-0 game? No, I don't. But maybe get through 8.
But it's all a learning process. We've heard Brian talk about this a lot of time. We saw Raisel Iglesias really go all the way to the very last ounce of energy that he had in Chicago, and he was able to come up huge with a runner at third base. He tried to do that with John Lamb in the ball game just the other day. Things just didn't quite work out. And of course, a couple of those balls, probably fly balls into the outfield, could have gotten Lamb out of the inning.
The only time DeSclafani has gone 8 innings was all the way back his 3rd start of the year. That was in Milwaukee. Allowed no runs and only 2 hits in 8 innings in a 6-1 win against the Brewers.
Well, that's just a nasty sinker right there. That ball started in the middle of the plate, and the bottom fell out of it. There it is. No, it's not.
Now the 1-1 on Stewart, who's flying to left and single. And it comes right back at 80 miles per hour. Strike 2.
Curveball. Hitter gives up on it. Catches that front part of the plate.
Stewart singled on an 0-2 pitch his last time up. It's 2-2 here with 2 down and none on. Full count. It's only the second 3-ball count today for Anthony. The other was against Travis Snyder in the 5th inning. And he got Snyder on a pop-up. This time a 1-hopper handled by Phillips. 7 shutout innings by Anthony DeSclafani. Will we see him in the 8th? His spot due up 2nd when the Reds bat here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And on this afternoon Monday, we will keep it right here for the singing of God Bless America.
Please stand, kindly remove your hats and face the American flag. Major League Baseball, the Reds and the Pirates salute the men and women of our armed forces, as well as those who serve to protect in our local police and fire departments. At this time, please help us honor these brave men and women and all our veterans of service, and welcome Abby Paskvan as she leads us in the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet
Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Archimedes Caminero, a right-hander, hard throwing one at that, comes on from the Pirate bullpen. Their third pitcher they've used today. Reds bat in the seventh with a 3-0 lead.
Had a 17 and a third inning scoreless streak all the way up until August 29th, but he's given up runs in back-to-back outings. Reds would like to keep that one going.
Skip Schumacher was walking around in that dugout. Looked like maybe he would be asked to pinch hit, but DeStefani standing in the on-deck circle, and that's one pitch and one out for Caminero. And DeStefani looks back one more time. He's still looking into that dugout. And Brian Price says, go on up there and hit, young man. You've earned it. Well, as promised earlier in the game, our Data Strong fan photo comes your way, and you can text yours or tweet yours at hashtag Ohio Data Strong Fan, brought to you by T-Mobile. Steve, very nice. Bundled up. Log goes 5+, allows 4 hits, 3 runs, 1 earned. Hughes behind him, a perfect inning.
And a big inning for Hughes. Came on with nobody out, runners at first and second. He's able to get out of it.
And now Caminero retires Barnhart to begin this 7th.
And when Hughes came into the ball game, the Reds had a golden opportunity to put this baby away.
They ran into an out, and then he retired the next 2. And Caminero has walked the pitcher on 4 straight pitches. How about that? Brian Price has the utmost confidence in J.J. Hoover, who up until about the last couple of weeks has had an outstanding season. There's no two ways about that. One of the great bounce back seasons in all of Major League Baseball. Having said all that, the last couple of weeks have not been kind to J.J. Hoover, nor were they over the weekend. And so, very reasonable pitch count for DeSclafani, working on a 5-hit shutout. It's not a guarantee, but it looks like DeSclafani, after batting with 1 out here in the inning, is going to get a chance to start the 8th.
And there's no indication at this point that DeSclafani is weakening at all. He still has command of the strike zone. Velocity is still there. And when you have a guy like Aroldis Chapman behind you, just go out there and let it all hang out in the 8th.
You know, so oftentimes you hear about a 3rd time through the batting order and all that kind of thing, and you know, numbers jump to a certain spot, and a lot of managers almost automatically are taking pitchers out now when they start a 3rd or a 4th time through the order. DeSclafani has been better the 3rd time through the batting order today than he has the 1st or 2nd times through the order. He allowed 1 hit. He has 1 more batter to go, the number 9 spot, which will lead off the 8th. This should be a double play. And it is. We'll see if DeSclafani gets the ball when we come back. End of 7. Reds 3, Pirates nothing. For Reds Live, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. Let's take a look at our Honda game summary. Reds scored 3 runs thanks to a leadoff error by the shortstop Sean Rodriguez. Suarez knocked in that hitter. That was Phillips. A sac fly by Tucker Barnhart, and 2 runs actually scored. 1 runner from 3rd, another from 2nd on an error charged to the catcher Chris Stewart on that throw from right by Polanco. And 3 runs so far has been more than enough for Anthony DeSclafani.
He has thrown the ball awfully well. I think a lot of that 3rd time through the lineup that you were talking about, Tom, the success of that was dictated by him pitching down in the zone and throwing a lot of early strikes. The Pirates have really not seen a whole lot of pitches early in the ball game from DeSclafani.
All right, here we go now in the inning. Brian Price sends him out there. Decker, the pinch hitter, leads off and looks at a breaking ball strike. So it goes Decker, then back to the top of the order in Polanco and Walker, and there's a base hit into right field by Decker. Bruce over to cut it off, knocks it down, but the runner will easily get to second. That is the first extra base hit of the game by the Pirates, their 6th overall. So we'll see bodies moving around in that bullpen now. This is where you cannot let this game get away. It's only 3-0. As Badenhop and Jumbo Diaz, no J.J. Hoover getting loose in the Reds bullpen. A few Pirate fans have made the trip to Great American Ballpark today. First time they've had virtually anything to get excited about. Decker, a leadoff double off the bench. Pulled foul. Polanco had a broken bat on the first pitch of the game. It turned into a ground ball at Phillips. DeSclafani has struck him out swinging in each of his last 2 trips. So advance a runner, but you'll trade it for an out. 1 away. So here's Neil Walker. Walker, one of the very few Pirates that's actually hit the ball pretty well today. Had a line out right at Brandon Phillips in the first. He looped one over Phillips' head for a single in the third, and then hit the ball hard at Votto in the 6th. 0-1 on Walker. Runner at third, 1 out. Reds 3, Pirates 1. We're in the top of the 8th inning.
All of the power numbers from Walker have come from this side of the plate, the left side.
Hard hit ball. Scoots off the glove of Brandon into right field, a base hit. So the Pirates on the board for the first time. And they now have the tying run coming to the plate. And here comes Brian Price. He gave DeSclafani a chance. And DeSclafani cannot finish the inning. He will be traded in favor of one of the 2 right-handers in the bullpen, either Badenhop or Jumbo Diaz. An excellent start by DeSclafani. 7 1/3 innings. So far, 1 run on 7 base hits. He does not walk a batter and strikes out 6. We're back in a moment. guys from around the Major League Baseball playoff races. NFL kicks off this coming weekend. Of course, tonight, the #1 team in the country, the Ohio State University Buckeyes, kick it off in Blacksburg, Virginia. All that and more on Fox Sports Live on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. High fives all around. Handshakes as there should be for young Mr. DeSclafani. Pirates finally break through against him in this 8th inning. A pinch hit double. 1 out later, a run scoring single. And now it's a 3-1 ball game as Jumbo Diaz comes on to face Andrew McCutchen.
I thought DeSclafani threw the ball outstanding here today. The 1 extra base hit obviously led off the inning. That cost him the run and the shutout. But he seemed to be in command the entire ball game.
Did not walk a batter, fan 6. But now all of a sudden here you are with one of the best players in the game stepping up there in the 8th inning of a game it feels like you've dominated, even though you've only scored 3. The Pirates have really didn't even threaten against DeSclafani. But now all of a sudden, double, single, and the tying run is up there at the plate. And Jumbo falls behind 2-0. Interesting, it's not J.J. Hoover here. Although, as we have speculated in the past, sometimes, or a couple of times this year, we've seen others in the 8th inning instead of J.J. because it's a closer, Chapman, that is not available. Now, we have no reason to believe Chapman is unavailable. He saved the game yesterday. But all year, when the Reds have had a chance to win a game, once that bullpen got settled after the first couple of months, it has been Chapman in the 9th, Hoover in the 8th.
This is not how you want to start coming out of the bullpen, throwing 3 consecutive pitches outside of the strike zone.
Chapman, by the way, is not warming up in the pen, if you're wondering. And there is a 4-pitch walk by Jumbo Diaz.
When you throw 97 to 99 miles an hour, sometimes 100, you don't have to overthrow or try to do anything extra. And that's where Jumbo Diaz hits a fault a lot of times coming out of the bullpen in crucial situations. Just make a pitch.
Now took a Barnhart, letting everybody know where we are, what's going on. As Jung Ho Gun steps in, he has hit the ball very hard. 2 of his 3 times up. A fly ball to center, a line out to left, and a line drive off the right center field wall that he was held a single. First pitch slider is low, ball 1. Badenhop throws in the bullpen.
5 consecutive pitches out of the strike zone for Diaz. Quite the recipe for success.
And we saw Brian Price do something that he's not done since he took over as manager. When the team was on the road in Chicago, he brought in Chapman for a 5+ out save. 6 in a row by Diaz out of the strike zone. I mean, if you're the Pirates, why even swing until he proves he can throw the ball in the zone? But you can rest assured, if it's a fastball in the zone, this guy will come out of his shoes. Ball 3. Chapman just an interested spectator right now. Badenhop continues to throw.
Chase ball 4.
Chase ball 5. They get 1. And they turn the double play. Pretty nimble around the bag, the big fella Diaz right there. Got that toe down. Votto, Suarez, jumbo, inning over. Play right here.
You don't see too many 3-6-1s. Votto had to go a long way to get to the ball, but he got rid of it quickly and on target, and it really gave Suarez time to get himself set and throw a strike to a moving target, even though Jumbo Diaz is a big target to throw to.
Boy, did Votto ever get rid of that ball so quickly.
And he had to lunge to get it.
Yeah. Beautifully done. Antonio Bastardo on for the 54th time. And Todd Frazier is behind strike 1. The Reds' lead is 3-1 batting here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Boy, the Cubs have just lit up Lance Lynn and Seth Maness. The Cubs in the 4th inning lead 8-0 in St. Louis. It started with the very first hitter of the game, Dexter Fowler homered. The Mets and the Nationals are tied at 5. Milwaukee continues to swing the bats. 9-1 in the 7th inning down in Miami. 0-2 on Frazier.
Well, you talked about it earlier, Tom. The ultimate battle in this Central Division in the National League is not really about catching the Cardinals, even though that's what you'd like to do ultimately. But this battle is about who's going to host that wild card game, and it's going to be either the Pirates or the Cubs. I'm sure both teams would like to have it in their own home ballpark.
And let's face it. You look at the Pirates. I mean, it would be the 3rd year since they started the 1-game playoff, and for all 3 years the Pirates will be the team right now in all 3 years that would host that game. They won 1, they lost 1. But when you look at the Cubs and the Pirates, they are unique in that, and it shouldn't come as a surprise when you're talking about having the 4th and 5th best records in all the Major League Baseball. They have winning records not only at home, they have winning records on the road. But there's a big difference for both of them. The Cubs are 6 games over on the road. Pirates 2 over. But at home, Pirates 25 over, so too are the Cubs. They want that game, in his case at PNC. For Joe Madden, Wrigley Field. And both places would be rocking.
Oh.
Three 2 on Frazier. One away here in the 8th. Frazier 0 for 4 today. Join the Reds saluting our heroes Friday, September 11th. It'll be the Police and Fire Appreciation Night here at the ballpark. We'll have special ceremonies before the game. Tickets start as low as $12. And the fireworks afterwards presented by Corson Fire and Security. We'll see you here on 9/11. And is this coming Friday night? Cardinals in town Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Votto a ground ball foul. Joey 1 of 3 in the game, had a single to left field back in the 3rd inning.
High heater. That starter likes to go up there with the fastball. If he gets a swing or a foul ball, likes to start the hook right in that same spot.
Nothing in 2 on Joey Votto. We'll do it again.
Went upstairs, back-to-back fastballs. One in, one up and away.
Votto knew it. No argument on the fastball that paints the inside corner at 93.
Bastardo goes against conventional wisdom, goes up top with a couple of fastballs, one in, one up and away, and he just paralyzes Votto on a pitch right on the inside corner. Tough pitch to pull the trigger when you're trying to guard against the breaking ball as well.
Brandon twice has reached on errors, once by the shortstop, scored a run, reached another time on an error by the first baseman Alvarez. 1 ball and 1 strike if you're looking ahead of the Pirates' 9th inning, and Aroldis Chapman is loose and ready to go. Alvarez is scheduled to lead things off, then Rodriguez, and then Snyder. We'll certainly see some movement in that trio with lefty, righty, lefty against Chapman, and plenty of options on their bench, including Josh Harrison from Princeton High School, Aramis Ramirez. Of course, they now have Michael Morse here as well.
Yeah, Morse was actually out in the on-deck circle earlier. And I think Morse is a guy that Clint Hurdle likes to use with a runner on base, hoping for a 2-run home run rather than to start things off with a single.
Fouled out a play by Brandon. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Did he go? No on the appeal.
Bastardo was already walking around the mound thinking he had strike 3. Maybe that little flip of the bat there got Brandon a little extra credit.
Liner into right, but caught to win the inning. So Bastardo a perfect 8. Here we go. Aroldis Chapman looking to try and nail it down for DeSclafani. Raisel Iglesias, how good has he been going back to the start of August? A 2.31 ERA. Opponents hitting a league low 146 against him. That's among all pitchers in the league since the start of August. And in the last 3 starts, Cowboy, first pitcher since 1914, 10 or more strikeouts in 3 consecutive games.
I just love his attitude when he takes the mound from the first pitch on. This is my day, this is my game, and I plan on winning it.
Reds have changes on defense in left field and center field, but the man on the mound has all eyes on him. That, of course, is Aroldis Chapman. 2 blown saves all year long. Picked up the save yesterday in a perfect inning against Milwaukee. Struck out 2 through 11 pitches, picking up his 28th save. Now an eye on number 29 and Josh Harrison from right here in Cincinnati, Princeton High School, then the University of Cincinnati. Looks at a strike, a slider on the first pitch. Back-to-back sliders and back-to-back strikes. Bourgeois moves from center to left. Duvall out. Ryan Lamar takes over in center field. Came with a gas at 98 and it's fouled away.
You know, Tom, when you look at the strikeout numbers for Chapman, and I know everybody looks at this, but it continues to amaze me because I think to myself, okay, what would his strikeout numbers look like if he pitched, let's say, 30 starts, a couple hundred innings? Would he strike out 400? I mean, he's got 56 innings now with 100 strikeouts. Now, granted, pitching 1 inning every second or third day is a whole lot easier than trying to pitch 7 innings every 5th day.
Tapper foul. Well, it was routine. The last pitcher closest to Chapman as far as being left-handed and throwing really hard. We just saw him out in Arizona be Randy Johnson.
Right.
You know, he was striking out 300 plus every year. And there you see 100 strikeouts this year in those 56 and a third innings. I think 300 plus would probably be what you would expect if Chapman was pitching over the course of a year, 30 plus starts.
And what we've seen from Chapman really in the last year and a half, fastball, more sliders. We've seen change-ups. We've seen first pitch change-ups. So there's no doubt that he has 3 pitches that would allow him to compete as a starter. But that ship has sailed.
And so is that at bat for Harrison. 100 miles per hour. 1 away in the 9th.
That baby was smoking, and this is today's flamethrower, brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce. Triple digits, 100. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
So now Sean Rodriguez. Starling Marte has moved into the on-deck circle. And apparently will bat for the left-handed batting Cincinnati. Fastball, triple digits, strike 1 to Sean Rodriguez. 0 for 3 has also committed a couple of errors. One thing we have seen from Rodriguez, this guy is not afraid of a good fastball. And this is the very best fastball. It's a slider there. That hit it on a slider. So now the tying run comes to the plate, and it will be Marte getting the day off. He, of course, is a regular left fielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Very talented player.
Marte in his own right, pretty good fastball hitter, especially when the ball's out over the plate.
Not only a lot of power, also good speed. Second most infield hits in all of baseball. And 16 home runs. Came back with a fastball to knees, a called strike, 1-1. 3 runs, 4 hits for the Reds, 1 run, 7 hits, 4 errors today for the Pirates. Reds scored all 3 of their runs back in the 2nd inning, and only 1 was earned run. And can you believe that? This is one the Pirates will want to forget all about, especially Rodriguez.
Well, Chapman had him leaning big time.
Well, Clint Hurdle is going to ask for a replay, a review of this call at first base. James Hoy, the umpire over there. And the crew chief is the second base umpire, Bill Welke.
I think he's out.
You aren't here over on television all that much after 2 replays about a month ago that I thought for sure, and I said to the guys out, and when both of them went the other way, I said I will never, if I'm lucky enough to broadcast one more day, one more year, or 100 years, I will never ever again say it looks to me like he or she is filling the blank.
I know exactly the 2 you're talking about. I told your dad that.
Out is the call.
He's out here, but I have seen him where I thought he was no doubt safe, and it was ruled out. No doubt out, ruled safe.
Well, he had it in his hip pocket. Why not try it if you're Clint Hurdle? I mean, you haven't asked for a review all day. 1-1 to Marte. And now ball and 2 strikes, and Chapman a strike away from the Reds getting a win in the opening game of this 3-game series against the Pirates. A 1-2 on Marte. That's all she wrote. Chapman hits a batter, strikes out 2, picks off a batter, getting his 29th save in 31 tries. And Anthony DeSclafani, just simply an outstanding start here today. Picks up the win, his 8th in this his rookie year. Reds 3, Pirates 1. We're back with more from the ballpark in a moment.